this is Dominic, wedding DJ.
And this is Serena, wedding planner.
And together we are
The Wedding Duo.
We are here to talk all things weddings.
Planning a wedding can be stressful, but we are here to help.
So before you say, that's it, we're going to Vegas, don't go to Vegas.
Let's have some fun.
Join us as we answer your wedding questions and help navigate planning one of the biggest days of your life with The Wedding Duo.
Hi, y'all. It is Wedding Wednesday time. We are excited to have you join us. This is our chance to answer your wedding questions. We do this every week. Noon Central Time. If you don't know who we are, I'm Serena. I'm a wedding planner here in San Antonio, Texas.
I'm Dominic. I'm a wedding DJ.
Yes, and we are married. We own At Last Entertainment and Events, which is a wedding planning and DJ service here in San Antonio. We are also the Wedding Duo.
And we are here today to answer your wedding planning questions.
And we're already getting some. So hi, do coordinators usually bring the desserts out a little later? Outside wedding don't want everything just sitting out for hours. This is a great question.
Or they cover them, right?
Well, you can cover them with either like one of those big dome things or, however you can set that up. But I offer it. I wouldn't know, like maybe a different coordinator, maybe they don't, but I offer to bring the desserts out later if they're in the back or something there in that cooler area.
Great thing to designate to the moms or the aunts. You know, say like, hey, at 7:00, can you bring the desserts out? And they're usually like, oh, I'd love to. Like if you've got that aunt that she's the baker or she's the one that likes to help, have them be in charge of either standing there and be like, no desserts until I say, or whatever. Because it does look pretty on the table, but some people have the dishes out there without the desserts. And then they bring out the box of cupcakes or whatever, they load them up.
Right.
That happens quite a bit.
Yeah, so I would have a conversation with your coordinator if that's something that they'll do for you. But otherwise, like he said, you can designate it to somebody.
Yeah, and it happens quite a bit. Bring them out later. So.
Because of daylight savings, it's going to be dark for our ceremony. Hopefully, it'll be just as nice as a day ceremony. We did a wedding New Year's Eve that was in the dark. What I'll tell you about this is have a conversation with your photographer because that is the one piece that will be really affected by this. They need to be prepared with the proper lighting, or maybe you provide some type of lighting for them, whether it be string lights, I know that's expensive, or some type of twinkle lights, something to allow them to get the right photos.
Yeah, twinkle lights will show up in the pictures, but it won't provide any ambient light. Where the market lights, the ones that you see like at a restaurant sometimes, some of those can be really bright. There are a lot of companies that'll do it, and you don't need 25 strands. Sometimes just a couple strands over the ceremony site will provide enough lighting for y'all to see and for the photographers to capture some really pretty lights. But, I mean, it's a cost, but like I said, it doesn't necessarily need to break the bank.
And if that's not an option, talk to your photographer about them bringing lighting or even getting some less expensive, like, floodlights, or something so that they can see to take the pictures. How do I get most of my family to come early for pictures? Big family. Ooh, this is hard. Okay?
You could ask them.
Yeah. So I think it's important that even when we schedule, let me explain this, some photos for before the ceremony, okay? Because sometimes if you're doing a first look, the couple will plan on doing family photos before the ceremony because you've seen each other, you can do those pictures. But then, just as you're saying, you have to have the family there, right? And the problem is not everyone listens to that. So you should realistically at least plan an extra 15, 20 minutes after the ceremony, knowing that you're going to need to do maybe some family photos at that point, right?
And sometimes...
And I don't mean extra, excuse me. Yeah. I don't mean extra as in like on top of the cocktail hour. I just mean as part of that photos.
If you have like a grandparent that's a little bit slower or maybe might need some help, find somebody that can help get them there. If you have family that have little kids, we have little kids. There's time for you had great intentions of being on time, but
but it didn't happen.
A dirty diaper right as you went out the door like changed your whole day. So.
Yeah, and I think if you're really set on it and you want it to happen, you've got to be pretty, emphasize it to the people that need to be there. Like, this is what's happening. I need you to show up.
I think sometimes it's better to do maybe do a lot of and the photographers all know this, do a lot of the wedding party stuff because they're there, they're ready, like. Do all the girl pictures, all the bridesmaids, get all the groomsmen together, get all those pictures out of the way. Because if you wait to do all of those, my gosh.
It'll take up your whole hour, if not more. Blended family to be. We want to do a kids' parents dance to Grease. We go together instead of the others.
That is fantastic.
Will it work?
I love it.
Yes, and so fun. Oh my gosh. Especially if you could like even get everyone together and like rehearse a little something. Like it doesn't have to be like super choreographed or anything, but you can practice the song. I mean, that is adorable. What's the best country song for a bride to walk down the aisle to? Well, there's a lot of good ones. But can I just tell them the story?
Sure.
So we did a TikTok to the Restless Road song. What is it called?
Oh, geez.
Oh, come on.
I don't remember. I'm telling you. Hold on.
You don't know it? Growing Old with You. Restless Road has a song called Growing Old with You that is great for a bride's entrance. We did a TikTok on it. The group, Restless Road, duetted our TikTok. Oh my God. I started yelling in the kitchen.
I didn't know what the hell. You came out and you were like, what happened? What happened?
So it was so cool, right? The group is sitting next to him talking about the song, singing the song. It's just really phenomenal. But this answers your question. It is a wonderful song for going down the aisle.
Some other ones you could do, On My Way to You. Cody Johnson's a great one because you're kind of like on your way to them. But another one, depending on the road that got you to your wedding day, Rascal Flatts' Bless the Broken Road is a really pretty, beautiful song that just talks about like how
It's
the
hard
two of
and
you
you
made your way
yeah.
there on the big day. And of course, from the ground up, Dan and Shay, that's gotta be my favorite. The lyrics on that one are
From the ground up.
so perfect. And I love Speechless. Everybody's gonna be like, what about Speechless? Speechless is a great song. And it works as well. But if I had to pick one,
I would agree with you. Yeah.
it's good.
My bridal party is uneven and unsure how to do the intros. So our most recent TikTok is about this exactly.
We
Talks
posted it
about
today,
it.
right?
So his suggestions a lot of time is to do what?
So even going down the aisle, just because they're uneven, you can do it where there's one guy and two girls or vice versa. But have the groom come out with all his groomsmen down the aisle, and then the ladies can go down the aisle by themselves. Same thing with introductions, especially if the girls all know each other and they're a tight group and they have fun together. And then the guys all have known each other, but they don't know each other as a couple. So rather than walking with a bunch of your guy friends, you can be all fun and silly and over the top and kind of have that energy together. Now you got to walk out with a girl you just met 4 hours ago and you're like, okay, hi, everybody.
Awkward,
walk out and a bunch of strangers. So if they know each other, that's great. And you can still do couples. But have a song for the girls to come out, have a song for the guys to come out, and then have a song for the couple to come out. It works
awesome.
great. Because there's so many good songs you can use that are guy-centric. Have the girls come out to Glamorous by Fergie, and the guys to come out Suit and Tie by JT, and then the couple come out to Marry You by Bruno Mars. I don't know. This is popping.
What would be the best table layout if you don't have a dance floor?
What? Why would you not have a dance?
No, it's totally fine. So the thing is, you may still want to leave a little space to do toasts. Maybe you do, the shoe game, and you would probably still want some type of like sweetheart table or, immediate family and bridal party to sit closest to you. So it's kind of hard to give a recommendation without knowing the shape of the room and the tables that are available to you. And what I mean by that is most venues offer certain types of tables, right? So we have venues in town that you get rounds. You get 60-inch rounds. They fit 8 people. That's kind of your option. They also may offer you rectangular, like 8-foot tables. That gives you flexibility there. There's some venues that offer farm tables, meaning you don't have to have linens. They're wooden. So it really depends on where you're having the event and the space and the tables that are available, right?
Yeah, you can get pretty creative. We have a great TikTok on the sweetheart table versus the king's table versus the horseshoe table versus the head table.
Yeah, check it out. That's a good one.
That one's got like a million.
We did a podcast on it as well. It's a little harder, I think, to hear it. It's nice to see it visually. So check it out on TikTok. It's kind of far down. What's a good song to cut the cake to or type of music? We just did
We just did one on this one too.
We just did a TikTok on this where it shows some different really fun songs, but go ahead.
People oftentimes want to have one that either says cake or says sweet or says sugar. So
I think it's cute.
It is cute. It's very cute. So Maroon 5 Sugar has one. How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You by James Taylor, by Marvin Gaye. Michael Bublé covered that one. Sugar Sugar by the Archies. Ooh, there's a classic, right?
I love that song.
Harry Connick Jr. Recipe for Love. Aerosmith Sweet Emotion. Like all these. Rihanna has a song, her cake song, I think it's Birthday Cake. Flo Rida has a song, I Just Came for the Cake. I mean, people get silly, but yeah. Or just do anything that's a classic song that you want to use in there, a slow song or something. So
yeah, ideas for involving my soon-to-be stepdaughter during our ceremony. Well, I think it's lovely to have her, first of all, be either like a junior bridesmaid or you can have them be the maid of honor even, I've seen,
how old,
depending on how old they are. But then once you actually get up there, I love when the couple, specifically the parent that is now becoming a parent to the child.
Step
Parent, says some words, vows to the child. Actually welcomes them into the family. I think it's lovely. It is really powerful. Too, yeah. And so that's, sometimes they present them with a gift, like a bracelet or a necklace. But it's really special for the child, I think, to really feel like they're part of it.
What do you get the boy, though? Here's a ball cap. Here's a new game.
I know, people have asked us that too.
For your tablet.
I mean,
it's harder for the boy.
Yeah, there's not
the
something
jewelry
they
is so
could
perfect
wear.
for the girl.
Maybe you get them like an engraved frame with a picture with all of you as a family. They'll appreciate that later on. They won't appreciate it probably if they're young, but just something that they can keep and remember that.
A VR.
Yeah, a VR headset. Any suggestions for mother and grandmother entrance?
To go down the aisle? Is that what entrance? I think that's what maybe they mean.
So if you're going down the aisle with grandmother, or mother and grandma, like the parents are going down the aisle and the grandparents, they can go down the aisle to the same song that the wedding party is going down to, or you can have different songs. And a lot of times people use really pretty instrumental songs, so really there's a plethora of choices.
We just did this recently. The grandparents went down the aisle to Married Life, which is from Up.
So cute.
It really got me. The grandparents were walking out, and of course you go back to watching that at the beginning of the movie when you saw them growing old together. And in my head, it was just like I flashed back, like, what's their story? This is a weird thing. Like, when did they get married? Like, what was their journey like? But anyway, that's where my head went. It was weird.
How do you not sing along with that? We like to sing along with most of the songs, so I don't know which one.
The Grease
probably
one, right?
The Grease one, yeah.
Sham-a-lam-a-lam-a-lam.
DJ, not sure what the usual price is like. What it too much or too little?
DJ pricing? Is that
I think that's what they're asking. So it's really hard for us to talk about pricing because we're one specific business in one specific area, and we set our pricing based on like a number of factors. One thing we do like to say is, you in this industry as well as a lot of industries, you get what you pay for a lot of the time, right? Sometimes the more expensive vendors is because they have a ton of experience. They're going to be professional. They're going to use the proper equipment, right? And that's why they're more expensive, is because they have costs.
Experience for sure.
Yeah.
Is the thing.
My daughter is getting married in September, and your content has been so helpful. Thank you so much.
Hooray!
Thank you for following us. Our count's been weird lately, and like our views have been all screwed up, and our following count, I don't know. But we appreciate y'all like more than you know. Ideas for involving my stepdaughter during sorry, I sent that twice. No, that's okay. I lost service. I did not hear the best time to cut the cake. Wedding is at 4 p.m. this Saturday. Help. So I mentioned about cutting the cake that it used to be kind of a tradition to cut it later in the evening, but it really makes the most sense, Karina, to cut it right after dinner and get it out there, get it served so that people can get a chance to get a piece. Because people don't leave because they get cake. That's like an old wives' tale, right?
It has not been, I've not seen that.
She said, I'm using I Love You More by Avery Anna. When should be a good time for me to start walking down? I think we looked at this the other day. What is the shoe game? Okay, so I'm going to direct you to something that'll show you exactly what the shoe game is. If you go to our YouTube channel, which is the wedding duo on YouTube, we did the shoe game together to demonstrate what it is.
Sorry.
So we're going to listen to your song, too, for Avery Anna's I Love You
kind of a
More.
rough idea of what the shoe game
But the
is.
shoe game, essentially, you have the MC, which, like, your DJ would MC, asking questions while you and your spouse, at that point, sit back to back on the dance floor. You each have one of your shoes and one of the other shoes, and you raise your shoe or his shoe if you think it's him or you, and it's really cute.
Yeah, so we ask a bunch of questions like, who's more romantic? Who asked for the first date? Who said I love you first? Who's a bigger baby when they're sick? And then you raise your shoe if you think it's you, and you raise this person's shoe if you think it's them. And they don't see what the other person is answering, so it's really...
It's cute.
It's funny when they both say, who's the better
If it's
cook?
done
And boom,
well.
they put up one shoe, immediately say, who's the better driver? Everybody always thinks they're the best driver, so everybody puts up their own shoe, and everybody laughs because they're like, what are they saying? So it's pretty fun.
So we're listening to Avery Anna's I Love You More.
Just when I think
To do the timing for you, Caitlin,
I love you more
right there.
than any storm that's coming. I think
it's right at about-
I can.
Open the doors right here. Boom. 40.
I love you more
40
than
seconds.
any storm that's coming. Let the sky
So essentially, you could start your walk like at the beginning of this song and then maybe get to the back of the aisle at 40 seconds or open the doors or come around the corner at that point. Or depending on how your ceremony area is set up, you could start it right then. It kind of depends, right?
Yeah, and people take a long time, oftentimes, picking that song for the ceremony music, especially for the bride's entrance. And then 18 months of planning, all that nervous energy is built up, and you're about to start. The doors open, and you're like, brr, and they just run up there, and you barely get any of the song. So I always tell the planner, I tell dad if you're walking with dad, and then I tell the bride, when the doors open, and especially if it's a short walk, take in that moment. Like, don't rush up there. Just stand there for a second. I would say, Dad, like, don't let her go. Hold her there and let everybody just kind of go, oh my God, look at the dress. She looks so beautiful. There she is. They've all been waiting for you. Come down the aisle. Like, let that moment be that moment. Like, don't cut yourself short on that. Like, let it go, boom, be big. And then when you're ready, let the song kind of help you get up to the altar right there.
So
it's fabulous.
fantastic. So she said, sorry, by that I meant what table layout will be best to have the illusion of a dance floor? As in, I should put the tables in a way there is a big space in the middle. Yes. So this is actually what we would recommend. If you just have an open space, create that dancing space. And the reason I say that is people will feel more comfortable dancing if they feel like there's a space for them to dance in, and then also have proximity to the DJ.
And don't feel like you have to have some giant dance floor.
You don't.
Less is more. I want a small dance floor where people look like they're really having a good time and packed in there. Not some giant, massive space where even if everybody comes out and dances, you still have your cousins over here, your work friends over here, your aunt and uncle over here. Like, I want everyone to be like a big, sweaty mosh pit party. People are more conducive to want to come out and dance if they don't feel like, well, I go out there and I'm still looking like I'm by myself because there's too much room, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you don't want to be like tripping over tables and chairs, but depending on your guest count, man, bring the tables in and focus that area.
Yeah, and if you have someone there at this venue or a planner or somebody, they can help you with what, like, the size should be for your guest count. Thoughts on a private ceremony and a public reception later on the same day. So that's, something that comes up, just not necessarily this scenario, but in the sense that a lot of people got married during COVID privately because they had to, and then they later had a big reception.
Last weekend.
So I really think...
we had that exact scenario.
Exactly. And so I really think if you're not into having the public ceremony and you want to do it privately, but then you also want to celebrate with your family and friends, this could work really well.
Yeah. If you're not that, we don't like the center of attention, but we love to party, yeah, that's perfect. Because you're trying to do your vows in front of all your family and friends, and you don't want to have an ugly cry. I mean,
yeah. Is it worth getting a wedding coordinator? So this is a great question. Now, of course, this is what I do, right? So of course I'm going to recommend that my service is valuable. I am also, though, an advocate knowing that not everyone can afford like a full-on wedding planner, meaning someone that's there with them the entire time, doing the design, like all that stuff. But the difference is a wedding coordinator usually comes on about a month or so before your wedding day. They do the timeline. They help coordinate vendors. They're going to do a walkthrough maybe. They're going to do your rehearsal and then the day of coverage. The difference is, I will tell you, your enjoyment of the wedding. Because having someone there that is not only an advocate for you and what you want, but who can run the event. It is not easy to get 150 people to do certain things in a timely manner.
Move the crowd.
And you are not able to do it yourself. It's really hard. So then what happens is your mom or your sister or your friends, because they love you, they end up pitching in, which is okay. But if you're on the fence and you're trying to decide, it is definitely valuable to have someone there that can help you through it.
And someone who's done it before, because it can be hard. I can't tell you how many times we've been at a wedding fair or a bridal fair or an open house, and here comes mom and bride, and mom says, I did everything for her sister's wedding. Never again. I didn't get a glass of wine. I didn't enjoy myself. I didn't get a dance. I was running around all night. And you're like, yeah, because you want it to go well, and you were there planning it all out, but they're like, I'm hiring somebody this. So if you ask a mom who has 2 daughters and she was involved in one and not the other one, ask that person, she will be the best person ever, because she will tell you, hire a coordinator.
Yeah. So to this question, she says, Brooke says, I'm nervous of timeline and the day of schedule. We can't afford a day of coordinator. Any tips? You can find...
Isn't that the podcast that's coming out?
Well, I was going to say, the podcast we just released
is this exact
topic. If you go to the Wedding Duo podcast, listen to that podcast. We give a lot of behind the scenes about how we do things.
Friday?
But also, Friday the new one's coming out.
Friday. Is that, but that...
The other one's already out.
Okay, that one's already out.
Yeah. There are a lot of templates online that you can utilize. I'm going to also offer you our virtual planning services. We do a much more affordable version of wedding planning where we're not actually at your wedding, but we can create a timeline for you. We sit down, we do a Zoom call, we go over everything. If that's
music,
something,
floor plans, whatever you need help with, we can literally build it from scratch, or we can fine tune what you already have. So
that's available at theweddingduo.co. It's not .com, it's theweddingduo.co if you want to check that out. Who generally gives the bride the something old, something new, borrowed, and blue item? If you're looking to get pictures of that, it's usually done beforehand, like while you're getting ready. And a lot of times they'll have the mom present it or the maid of honor. But sometimes they just...
where they're getting them from, like who...
Who generally gives the bride? Who?
Yeah, like you mean like where do they... I mean, people come from all kinds of creative things. One of the things I saw that was really clever, the bride in the back of her dress, she had a little blue heart that was stitched into her dress that was left over from her father's dress blue uniform when he was in the Air Force. And I was like, well, that's really cool. He was still with them. You know, he hadn't passed away, but...
She just wanted
she was a military brat. It was a big part of her life. So she had a blue heart in the back of her wedding dress. Her hair covered it a little bit, but then you would see it for sure. And I'm like, that was really cool.
Yeah, but I think she's asking who gives it to her, because she says who generally gives the bride. What are your thoughts on a private small ceremony? Okay, we answered that. Want to incorporate more than words somewhere.
Extreme. That's a great song.
Can't decide where it would fit best.
It's a great dance song. It could be the cake song if you don't really have a spot for it. You can play it as a slow song during dancing or during dinner, or at the end of the night when a lot of people have that last song of the night just for the two of them, where everyone else gets sent out for sparklers or send off or just gets the heck out, and then we shut the doors and the couple get one last dance together when you're still in your dress, he's still in whatever's left of his suit at that point. And it's a kind of a great way of saying, like, the night's almost done, but not quite. You got to pump the brakes and just have a moment, just the two of you. And it's nice to have a special song there. That's a great song.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
That's an old school one right there.
Do I have to have a rehearsal dinner? Can I just invite everyone to a restaurant after we rehearse? Yeah, absolutely. I've had bride couples do pizza. I mean, they go to the pizza place after. I mean, it does not have to be formal. It does not have to
Especially if your budget's already maxed
out.
Yeah,
I mean, some people plan a whole other event for the rehearsal dinner. But there's a lot of people that don't. I've had couples barbecue at their family's house or whatever. I mean, please do what works for you.
Yeah. And people can be comfortable, and it's not another... Because even if they had to fly in, they had to go to a hotel, they bought you a gift. Mm-hmm. If they have to go pay for another... Because sometimes they want to, like, let me pay for my meal, you know, but if you're barbecuing, they can be, you know, in their flip-flops and sundress and just...
Yeah, it can be a lot more casual. For a day of coordinator, would we give them all our decorations and things a few days before? So I will, if I'm doing a rehearsal the day before, the night before, I will get those items then or have them dropped off the morning of at the location. It will depend on your coordinator how they like to make that work, but I've done it both ways.
Tell them how you like to have them.
I always recommend that my couples, my brides, and I recommend this further out so that they can prepare. They get some bins, like those plastic Christmas bins, and they label them like sweetheart table. They label them ceremony, sign-in table, so that while you're getting stuff from Amazon or Hobby Lobby or wherever, you can start putting things in those labeled bins. And then when you hand them over to a coordinator or your family to put them out, they're in where they're supposed to go. And then at the end of the night, they can go back there and it's easier to pack them up.
Because you will have so much stuff. You're doing a memorial table and you're like, where's Nana's picture? I put it somewhere. Because there was the one bride we were working with, and we did a rehearsal at their house, and they had a guest room. Oh my God! It was like a tornado had gone through. There was this stuff everywhere. I'm like, oh geez, she needs to organize. Like, because you just get the stuff and you're busy. So if you have some sort of maybe a shelf where this is for the ceremony, because then you don't. Then it's when it comes closer, you're not losing your mind.
I want my mom to walk me down the aisle instead of my dad. Advice on how to approach this. So we've seen this a number of ways. We've seen the bride.
They're not together.
Right. We've seen the bride walk down by herself. We've seen mom. We've seen dad. We've seen both parents. I think it's important that you have this conversation before the day of. I don't think that that's something they should find out on the day of your wedding.
Yeah.
To avoid drama and pressure and stress on you. I think it's really important that you have that talk. And
for any of it, if there's some drama you can head off at the pass, don't blow up on your wedding day because you're going to be tired, you're going to be focused, you're going to be stressed. I mean, try to get those, because we've seen it happen, and it really can be a downer on your day if you have to deal with that stuff. So
we are going to wrap it up with just these last few questions, but I wanted to mention something. We have our podcast, the Wedding Duo podcast. We're also on YouTube, Instagram. We do virtual planning through theweddingduo.co.
We're on TikTok.
If you, obviously, yeah. If you're interested in getting help with your music, our music planner is available for download through our shop. You can go to the link in our profile. It'll take you to another page. Then you can go to the shop from there. But it's a really helpful tool to help you plan out the music. Rectangular or round tables for the reception. Again, I think it depends on what you have available. If you're renting the items, it can be really fun to do both, like a mix of both. Whether you do like a large head table or king's table and then have rounds for the rest of your guests.
Or have rectangle ones, depending on the room. We have a linear room. They do rectangles on the side. Mm-hmm. And then the parents... or maybe there's 4 rounds up front where the parents or the wedding party sit at the rounds. It's a really easy way for the DJ to say, hey, the round tables are reserved. Like,
yes, it separates it, right?
Like, okay, then move on back to the commoner space.
Yeah, so it depends on what's available to you through the venue or if you're renting them. She said, I want to play song bingo, important songs for us. Just an idea on how to implement. Name the tables.
Bingo?
She's saying, I want to play song bingo.
Oh, song bingo. Oh, I got you.
Important songs for us. Like, there's important songs.
The song bingo, I like B-I-N-G-O.
B-I-N-G-O. I-N-G-O.
You always get upset at me when I clap.
Well, now you know how to.
So name your tables. Table 1 is now the Wonderful Tonight table. Table 2 is When a Man Loves a Woman. Table 3 is Perfect. And then you can... release those tables to the buffet when that song comes on. It's a great way. Like, you have all these great songs. Number 7 is now the At Last by Etta James table. Mm-hmm. It can be really cool, when you look, the way you look tonight or whatever.
Whatever the songs are.
But it's a great way. Then you have different tables that you can kind of have fun with how you name the tables. I've also suggested musicals. If you want to have a Hamilton table, a Les Mis table, a Moulin Rouge table, a Greatest Showman table, and then that song from that soundtrack gets played, and that's what releases that table. You can do movies, you can do baseball diamonds. I mean, not that there's a song with maybe
so that would be a great way for you to implement the music and use
places you've been. I don't know. Oh, we had one. It did really well. It's got like multiple million views. They had the table. It was year 1, they called it. Table 1 was year 1, and they had pictures from the first year they met. They'd been together 11 years, so it was perfect. And then there were pictures at table 2 was called year 2, and they had pictures and things that happened in their second year of dating. All the way up to year 11, they had pictures, and they were babies in the first one. I was looking at pictures. I was like, look at you. Oh,
that only works if you've been together
yeah.
for a while and you don't have 25 tables.
Yeah, but it was really clever. I thought it was like really outside the box. I had never seen that before.
All right, Olivia, you're going to be our last questions here. First of all, can my Uncle Terry walk me down the aisle to my fiance? Yes,
Sure. Get your uncle in there.
100%. If he is someone special to you and that's who you want, absolutely.
I've never seen the wedding police show up and say, you can't do that.
Second of all, my grandmother passed away this few weeks ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So sorry. Can we do roses for the wedding ceremony? Yes, and we've seen people honor someone who has passed by placing a rose on an empty chair in honor of them. So that may be something you could do. You could have a photo of her there.
Yeah, and even have the officiant mention it, like our groom brought a rose down to represent his mother. She's here in spirit, or just so that or whatever the person is, bride's grandma. Like say, she's very special, so you can have that moment where you like, we miss you, grandma. Here's a rose for you at the seat, and mention it in the ceremony because it's kind of like it's like she always says, it's very cathartic to have that moment where you feel like
you're honoring them, yes.
and then you can move on with your day and not feel like you have to carry that heavy heart all the way through the night.
That's a good point. Yeah. So we do this every week, y'all. We do 12 noon Central Time. We talk weddings. We answer your questions. But thank you for following us, for your support, and we love you all. Happy wedding planning. We will see you next time.
Hey, so thanks for listening to our podcast. If you found any of this information helpful and you know someone who may be engaged or is a maid of honor, maybe you could tell them and share it with a friend.
Absolutely. So screenshot this episode, share it on Instagram, on Facebook, and tag the wedding duo. We promise to share the love back. Also, if you are interested in more resources or the show notes, you can go to theweddingduo.co. We have one-on-one virtual sessions, a shop, all sorts of fun stuff. Check it out.